Another area where Kenyans are really upset about is marketing and promotional services. Like think about a DJ, for example, who is on a roadshow. They will now pay 5% withholding tax.
5%.
5% withholding tax, which is now the level as other professionals. Remember what we have said about digital content
creators.
It's at 15%,
Yeah.
which is totally unfair, frankly, for young people involved in it. And you will find this again at clause 24 of this bill. And on the digital tax, you will find it at clause 10 and clause 24. Now, one again, you should encourage people to look at clause 24 very, very deeply. Clause 24B increases advance tax on commercial vehicles. Right now, if you have a vehicle a saloon vehicle that is used for taxi services, you pay 2,400 advance tax per year on it. Per year. If you have a truck, kama Mugukumi, you are paying roughly 20,000 shillings per year. The proposals of the bill is that for the saloon vehicle to double from 2,400 to 5,000, and for the trucks to triple, to go from 20,000 to 60,000 shillings per truck per year. Obviously, the operator of the truck is going to pass that cost to the Kenyans,
to the commuters,
to the commuter, or to the person who is using transport services. The effect of it is to make goods more expensive. Yeah.
So for saloon cars, is it specific? Because I think there has been a misconception in the public, because some think it's any saloon car. So as you say it, is it specifically PSV, which are saloon cars, or just any other saloon car? I have a saloon car. Will I be entitled for that taxation?
Will you pay? It is for commercial vehicles.
Commercial vehicles.
Yeah. So yes, a saloon car if it is used as a PSV.
As a PSV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another area that has brought quite a bit of debate is clause 17. Now, clause 17, one of the things it does, it's amending section 21 of the Income Tax Act. And what it is doing is defining business income. Okay? In the Act as it exists today, that clause 21, that is being amended, business associations do not pay tax. So like the Chamber of Commerce or the Kenya Juakali Federation or Kenya Private Sector Alliance, the subscriptions by members and annual whatever joining fees and what have you, they are not considered business income. So they don't pay tax. That is being removed. So business associations are now going to pay tax. Okay? And remember, really, business associations, again, is not income. Members pay subscriptions so that they might get perhaps advocacy services from the association. In addition, membership clubs of all kinds, chamas, merry-go-rounds, private clubs. The current law is like this. If most of your income, not really income, most of your proceeds, most of your revenue account is from subscriptions and activities of members, then you don't pay tax. Like think about a merry-go-round or a chama. Our income are not income. Our proceeds, our revenue account is what we are contributing ourselves, our activities as members of that chama. Now, once you remove that definition, which is what the amendment is doing, then membership clubs, chamas, and all of them, their revenue, their proceeds will be deemed as revenue. And once it is deemed business revenue, then or business income, then you pay at 30%.
Do you have a rate at which it's going to be taxed?
30%. Yeah, because income tax is 30%.
30%.
Yes. Yeah. And this is what, after you?
30% of proceeds from chama. Now this time, because the amendment is happening, it's being considered as income.
Remember, business income is already taxed at 30%. So the rate is not changing there. What is changing is, what do you define as business income? Does a chama have business income? Does a trade association have business income? Does a membership club have business income? In the current law that is being amended, the law says no. If the proceeds, take, I don't know what, Muthaiga Club, or Rimuru Club, or Nandi Bears Club, okay? Or Nanyuki Sports Club, if most of the proceeds come from activities of members, then it is not business income and it is not taxed. Think about women chamas, their membership organizations. If most of their income, most of their proceeds or revenue account is from contributions and what have you, from activities of the members, then again, it is not business income, so it is not taxed. So what clause 17 is doing is to say everything that goes into that revenue account will be deemed as business income. So these membership clubs are now going to be paying income tax. And chamas are also going to be paying income tax. What is the rate? The normal rate of 30%.
Now, help me understand, perhaps, I don't know, some laws are going to be formulated around these membership clubs. I'm in the village. I have chama. How will the government come identify that certain group has a chama and you're entitled for taxation? How is it going to be anchored in the law?
Well, you know, it is already defined. Even now, you know, chamas, membership organizations, trade associations, they are already defined in the Income Tax Act. They are already defined. Yeah. Now, what is being changed is the definition of business income in order to bring them into taxation. Now, how does a KRA go about? Well, I guess that's up to them, how they identify where the chamas are and where the trade associations are. But you know, what is being changed is the definition of business what is business income, and their effort is to bring chamas, trade associations, and membership clubs into the income tax. Yeah. Another area that may be of big interest to your clients as a business station is capital gains tax. Clause 26 of this bill is trying to or proposes to apply capital gains tax on shares or equivalent interest in partnerships arising from property or immovable property. Now, as in most of the things in this bill, you have to read very, very carefully, read the proposal for amendment, and then read what it is amending and so on. Now, when you think about what this clause is saying, when two partners get together and they start a partnership or even a limited liability company, typically they will contribute cash or kind. So if you and I start a business, you might bring an asset. Maybe you own a flat somewhere or you own a house and you say, I'm transferring this asset to this business in order to build the balance sheet so that the business can start. That is now going to be subject to capital gains tax. Yeah.
Is it been there before, or is something?
Capital gains tax is there. Again, this is this idea. One of the approaches currently with this regime is to expand the tax base. So presumably this is one of those measures where they think they're expanding the tax base, only that it will have the effect of discouraging people from starting businesses. Yeah. And partnerships. Yeah. I want to move now to the area of VAT. Because remember, we started with income tax, then we spoke briefly about withholding tax. I want now to discuss briefly VAT. Of course, the most commonly debated point right now is the doubling of VAT on fuel. Right now, the VAT on fuel is 8%. Fuel, I mean, all petroleum products. Is 8%. Clause 28 of this bill proposes to double it to 16%. Industry experts tell us that the immediate impact will be an increase in the pump prices of anywhere from 9 shillings for diesel to 10 or 11 shillings for petrol. Obviously, that will then be felt throughout the economy because transportation is a key thing in goods and services. And, so you can expect the prices of everything will go up because fuel prices are going up, and fuel is in every cost function. The fuel is the key driver of transport. If you think about agriculture, if you're plowing, you're using diesel. If you're harvesting, you're using diesel. Even if you are maybe unasiaga and you are using electricity, that electricity itself has a fuel component. So the prices of everything will go up because of this increment in VAT.
Help me understand, because 16% VAT definitely will trickle down to high cost of unga, steel, bread. But then again, the president has been on record that fertilizer has been subsidized. How do we marry the two? Because fertilizer is being subsidized to make production in the farm cheap, but at the same time, 16% of VAT. Will it work for him in the long run?
Well, frankly, but as one of the criticisms about policy making in this regime is that we have too many contradicting policies. You're trying to achieve this on one hand, and you are creating the opposite effect on the opposite. And this is one of those areas, and I'll come back to this in a moment. That if you are promoting, you say you are not subsidizing consumption, you are going to promote production, particularly agricultural production, in order to improve or to bring down cost of food. That's fine. But everything else that you do ought to support that, particular objective. Now, increasing fuel costs goes completely against the idea of bringing down food prices through increased agricultural production. An area again on digital. I mean, this bill, it pays particular attention to digital services for some reason. Imported digital services will now be subject to VAT. And imagine, if you will, like I don't know, if you are a programmer and you are licensing Navision or some other programming language, then you'll be subject to 16% VAT. Or if you whatever other digital service you may be importing for reselling in Kenya, then you will attract 16% VAT.
In this sense, are we talking about the likes of Facebook, Google, because they are foreign, but they offer services locally. By that item which you just mentioned, is it what you're talking about exactly? Oh,
indeed. I mean, it defines the digital services broadly. So I would expect including the entities that the services provided by the entities that you have pointed out. One area that again is really contentious is the proposal to charge VAT on insurance compensation. Now, you have seen some of the members trying to explain this away. To say that if your goods, if you lose goods, let's say you are transporting unga, then the truck had an accident, so you lost the unga, and the insurance company pays you. Some fellows are saying that, the reason for this clause 30 is that if you had already claimed input VAT for the unga, that's why you should pay VAT. And that cannot possibly be the case. Let's be clear. Insurance is compensates you for the cost of the goods, not for the sale value of the goods. Yeah? Like if you had a truck of unga of unga, and you had bought it for say 10,000 shillings, that's what the insurance is going to compensate you. You cannot go and tell the insurance, I had hoped to sell it for 20,000, so now compensate me for 20,000. So the effect of this clause is that the insurance compensation will now attract 16% VAT. In any case, you will not, at the point where you lose your goods, you probably have not sold them. And if you have not sold them, you could not have claimed input VAT. Yeah. The effect of this amendment proposed at clause 30 is to introduce VAT on insurance compensation. Yeah.
So that means any insurance, any underwriter in the country, any insurance company in the country will be entitled 16%.
Subject to, yes, will be
subjected to 16%.
Yes, when you make a compensation, so the compensation amounts will go up will most likely go up by 16%. Yeah.
Is it the first time it's being introduced?
This is the very first time.
The very first time
insurance compensation is being made VATable. Now, of course, one of the reasons why there is such debate, you can see that almost all these measures, in one way or other, increases cost to business. If you look at this insurance compensation, it increases the cost to
doing business
to the insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
If because it becomes essentially a cost to them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to compensate me, 100,000
Mm-hmm.
for an insurance loss I've suffered,
Mm-hmm.
now you have to ensure that, compensate me plus VAT.
Plus VAT.
If you look at the effect of increased fuel costs,
Mm-hmm.
many of these tax measures obviously have the effect of increasing cost
Mm-hmm.
to cost of doing business. Now, the Clause 33 of the bill proposes to also make certain changes in the VAT schedules.
Mm-hmm.
In the VAT schedules, VAT, you could be exempt from VAT,
Mm-hmm.
you could be zero rated for VAT,
Mm-hmm.
or you could have a preferential VAT rate like petroleum, or you could pay VAT at 16%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here is where it's getting very interesting. Oh, not interesting, disappointing and tricky, actually, for most people interpreting this thing.
Yeah, because it's quite controversial even in public, because exempted VAT and zero rated.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And the difference is like this.
Mm-hmm.
When a product is zero rated, you don't charge VAT on the sale of that product. In addition, you can claim back input VAT. Yeah. So take something that you're making. Like take, I don't know, unga. Let's take unga.
Mm-hmm.
When it is zero rated, or fertilizer, when it is zero rated, when you are selling to the farmer, you don't pay. The farmer does not pay. You don't charge the farmer VAT. In addition, you, the manufacturer, the VAT you paid for inputs to make that fertilizer, you can go and claim it back. Which means the cost of the good should be lower. When the good is exempt, like for example, now the proposal is to move fertilizer from zero rating to exempt. Now some guys in this Kenya Kwanza side somehow think it's a good thing. It's a terrible thing. Because VAT, fertilizer was already zero rated, which means that the farmer was not paying VAT on it, and the manufacturer was able to claim input VAT. If they are successful and fertilizer becomes exempt, what it means is that, yes, the manufacturer will not charge VAT when they are selling, but they will not be able to claim input VAT. So ultimately, goods are cheaper when they are zero rated, and they are more expensive when they are exempt. Now, when you look at the schedule, the schedules that are being amended, what you will find is that medicines, for example, fertilizer, pesticides, pest control, all these products were zero rated. Now they are being proposal is to take them to exempt, which means they are now liable for input VAT, and their prices will go up. Now, going back to your earlier question, you see this kind of contradiction throughout the bill, where you say you are doing something on one side, but in another clause, you are doing something that completely negates your earlier proposal. Yeah. And we'll see that in a moment when we come to IDF. So if you look properly at that clause 33A 20, like the Roman 20, clause 33, subsection A, Roman 20. What it is doing, it is removing unga, various ungas like maize, wheat flour, cassava flour from that thing, which means it is going to. The other confusion that our Kenya Kwanza colleagues are suffering, you know, if you remove something from the tax exempt, if you remove it, the effect of removing it is to put it in the taxable category. So if you remove something from the tax exempt, by implication, unless you have clearly indicated it is zero rated, the effect is to put it in the VATable category. So again, the 34, it is the same for many pharmaceutical products. So now they're going to move from zero to
exempt,
to tax exempt, which will make them more expensive, including things like the eco-friendly stoves. You know, there are some jikos that are sort of energy-saving jikos. They are now going to move to taxation,
which is again making the life of hustler difficult.
all the more difficult. Yeah. I want to talk a bit about a few items in excise duty or excise tax.
But before you proceed on VAT still, in that bill, do we have anything attractive under that clause VAT? Because President promised that LPG is going to be cheap. So do we have anything sweet?
I have not found myself anything attractive. What in fact the Kenya Kwanza team is talking about as attractive is this idea that they have put many goods in the tax exempt or VAT exempt category. But as we have explained, either honestly they don't know, which is really sad indeed, or they are being very economical with the truth. Because of this difference between exempt and zero rated. And the reason zero rated is better is because you get a refund for input tax. So what they are claiming to be a good thing is a bad thing, because they are moving goods that were already zero rated and moving them to tax exempt status, which is actually going to make their prices slightly more expensive. Yeah. So on excise duties, one big one is mobile money transactions. This is clause 43 of the bill. It proposes to move excise duty on mobile money transfers from 12 to 15%. This reduction, or rather, the reason it was at 12, I think, was around COVID time. Nonetheless, it is going up by 3 percentage points from 12 to 15%. Now, the big point about this is it is the principal way that we make payments. Most Kenyans make payments on mobile money. So they will be hit harder.
So the hustler will be hit harder. What about the custodian of this product, the mobile money service provider? What are the
But you see,
what are the end effect?
Well, it may slow down perhaps further growth of mobile money transactions. But I think the likely effect is that this entire tax, it will be borne by the customer. Because remember what is being taxed when you transfer money, your mobile service charges a fee. That fee is the one that is attracting a tax. Yeah. And generally what we have seen so far is that that taxation has all been borne by the customer. Yeah. One that is, people have said it looks very desperate, is there at clause 43A, item 6, enrollment 6, which is proposing to tax beauty products like fake beards, wigs, artificial nails. They will now pay 5%. And of course, many people have commented that that sounds rather extreme, but that is the way it is. 43 also imposes a 10% excise duty on imported clinker, imported cement, as well as iron bars. Now, there is debate, of course, whether we have sufficient capacity locally and whether production will be promoted, improved by this. Either way, we are importing a significant amount of cement, partly because of the high cost of energy in Kenya.
So, what has been there before?
No, it wasn't. It was not attracting excise duty. So this is new.
It's new.
This is new.
So in short, the government is trying to discourage importation of this.
Indeed, I mean, one hopes that's the purpose of it. But we cannot be certain is whether that's going to be the true effect of it, or like wheat, it's only going to bring their cost high. Today, even maize, when we import, usually there's a duty to it. It's supposed to protect domestic producers, but the effect has been to bring up the price of the domestically produced goods to match with the cost of the imported goods. Yeah, digital lenders will, digital lending will attract now a 20% excise duty. Now, what this will do again is just increase the cost
of borrowing.
And most people at the bottom of the pyramid, we go to digital lenders, and this is going to go up.